Okay, good evening, everybody. I'd like to go ahead and get the Tuesday, February 17th, 2026 Poquoson School Board meeting underway. Okay, first item of business, Ms. Studd, would you come up and lead us? Actually, sorry, so we've already, yep, we're good. Yep, you're good, I apologize.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please pause for a moment of silence. You may be seated. Today, our quote comes from George Orwell. Happiness can only exist in acceptance. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Carroll, are there any additions and or modifications to the agenda?
Chair Burbridge, we have no additions this evening.
Okay, thank you. Moving along, item 4, recognitions. Ms. Purdy?
Chair Burbridge, members of the board, Mr. Tillett and colleagues, community members, thank you for joining us this evening. We have a few things to celebrate today, the first of which is our Senior of the Month. From a young age, this student has demonstrated remarkable determination and focus. She knows what she wants and consistently pursues her goals with enthusiasm and perseverance. Her academic record speaks volumes, maintaining straight A's from middle school through high school while balancing an impressive array of extracurricular and leadership commitments. She has challenged herself with a rigorous course load, including numerous AP and dual enrollment courses, and even took initiative to enroll in additional dual enrollment biology course during her senior year to further prepare her for her future in nursing. This student's leadership experience is exceptional. As a manager of the show choir, she not only develops her own musical and dance talents, but also mentors others, encouraging her peers to grow as performers and teammates. And on the varsity field hockey team, where she earned second in the state and became a 3-time letterman, this student demonstrates both competitive drive and the heart of a team builder, lifting others up and leading by example. Her creativity and initiative are further shown in her founding of a ballroom dance club, inspired by her 4 years of dedication to the art. Outside of the classroom, this student's compassion and sense of justice shines brightly through her volunteer work with the Boy Scouts of America, mission trips to Nicaragua, and her Eagle Scout project, where she led the effort to cook 100 frozen family meals for Thrive, Pennsylvania, which is a local food bank. She's embodied the spirit of service. These experiences taught her not only the importance of empathy and action, but also practical leadership lessons in planning, delegation, and teamwork. Please help me in congratulating Miss Alex Titko as Poquoson High School's February Senior of the Month. She's not able to be with us this evening, so I will give this to her principal. A lesser-known appreciation month is for our board clerks. So tonight is my honor to recognize 2 individuals whose dedication and behind-the-scenes work ensure the smooth operation of our school board. As we celebrate VSBA School Board Clerk Appreciation Week, we want to express our sincere gratitude to Carol Carroll, Clerk of the Board, and Miss Ashley Ide, Deputy Clerk of the Board, for their unwavering commitment to Poquoson City Public Schools. Mrs. Carroll plays a vital role in maintaining the official records of the board, coordinating meetings, and ensuring that all necessary documents and communications are handled with precision and professionalism. Mrs. Ide, in her role as deputy clerk, provides invaluable support, stepping in wherever needed to ensure continuity and accuracy in board operations. We are truly grateful for their hard work, and we thank them for their contributions to Poquoson schools. If you wouldn't mind coming forward.
I just want to say for the record, I'm more moral support to Carol.
As I was mentioning earlier, February is School Board Appreciation Month, and as we extend our gratitude as well to our dedicated members of the Poquoson City School Board for their unwavering service to our students, staff, and community. Through their leadership, vision, and commitment to excellence, they help share the direction of our schools and ensure that every student has the opportunity to thrive. Our school board members serve as a vital bridge between our schools and the broader community, which is an important and often challenging role that requires balancing the voices and needs of many stakeholders. We are deeply appreciative of their thoughtful leadership and steadfast dedication. Thank you for the difference you make in our division. And as a very small token of our appreciation, please enjoy the dessert on us tonight. That concludes our Many rounds of applause. Thank you. That does conclude our recognitions for the evening.
Thank you, Ms. Purdy. Okay. Long presentations and reports. Ms. Ide, could you give us the instruction update, please?
Okay, good evening, Chair Burbidge, school board members, Superintendent Tillett, staff, and community members. Tonight, we have leaders from CTE clubs at Poquoson High School. We'll share our work on the multi-year school support plans, and of course, review budget items related to the 26-27 school year. February is Career and Technical Education Month, and we are proud to recognize the outstanding CTE opportunities available to students in Poquoson. Our CTE programs provide meaningful, real-world learning experiences that prepare students for both college and career pathways. Through hands-on instruction, industry credentials, and strong partnerships, our students develop the technical skills, problem-solving abilities, and workplace competencies needed to thrive in today's workforce. We are grateful for the dedication of our CTE teachers and partners who make these opportunities possible. I would like to introduce two outstanding student leaders who will share about their involvement in career and technical education at Poquoson High School. Ashley Groseth serves as the president of DECA, and Lena Owens serves as the president of FCCLA, and accompanied tonight is Ms. Kimberly Chapman, CTE teacher at Poquoson High School.
Hi everybody, my name is Ashley Groseth and I am the president of DECA. DECA is a co-curricular student organization that prepares all of its members for careers in marketing, finance, hospitality, and management through classroom instruction, competition, and leadership experiences. DECA students build skills in communication, teamwork, and professionalism while representing our school at the district, state, and national levels. Next Friday, myself along with 18 other students will compete at the state level conference in Virginia Beach, with hopes of qualifying for ICDC level competition in Atlanta, Georgia in April. Thank you. Hi, my name is Lena Owens and I'm the president of FCCLA. That stands for Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America. It's a national career and technical student organizations for students in family and consumer science classes. FCCLA offers intracurricular resources and opportunities for students to pursue career that support families. Members develop skills for life through character development, creative and critical thinking, interpersonal communication, practical knowledge, and career preparation. Thank you.
Before I move on, put them on the hot spot for a second, is there anything you'd like to ask of our leaders? Thank you guys for coming out. Thank you, Ms. Chapman, for accompanying them in all your work in CTE. We very much appreciate what all of you do for Poquoson. I interrupted a clap. I feel like we should get back to that.
Yeah.
All right, next we're going on to my portion of the budget as related to instructional needs. So similar to last year, just highlighting some key investments that directly support the continued growth and success of both our students and staff. For the 26-27 school year, we have not added any new initiatives. All the instructional investments that you see here are existing in the 25-26 budget. Our focus is twofold: maintain strong programs already in place and sustain instructional systems that support daily teaching and learning. In the proposed 25-26 budget, we have included funding to support curriculum writing and SOL remediation. These initiatives were previously funded through the state's all-in carryover funding, which is no longer available. To maintain continuity of instructional quality and student supports, these functions must now be absorbed into our operating budget. Curriculum is the comprehensive and coherent plan for teaching and learning that outlines the knowledge, skills, and dispositions students are expected to acquire. It includes aligned learning objectives, content standards, instructional resources, assessments, and pacing to ensure instruction is systematically designed to meet state standards and prepare students for success at the next level. A clearly defined curriculum ensures that teachers are not placed in the position of creating the entire instructional menu from scratch. Just as we would not expect a waiter to take orders while also developing every recipe and designing the kitchen systems, we should not expect teachers to independently design standards-aligned curriculum in isolation. A high-quality curriculum provides structure and coherence so teachers can focus on engaging students, differentiating instruction, and ensuring mastery. In Poquoson, we develop and deliver curriculum in multiple ways to ensure both quality and fiscal responsibility. We utilize teacher teams to design division-created curriculum, purchase comprehensive programs such as HMH for literacy, incorporate targeted resources such as Lexia, IXL, or Delta Math, and subscribe to standards-aligned curriculum. An example would be from Hampton City Schools, which is also used by about 25 divisions around the state. Many of these platforms, along with curriculum writing and SOL remediation, were funded through All-In. With that funding ending, the division must now sustain these instructional supports locally. As a small division, we strategically leverage multiple sources to provide a robust, standards-aligned curriculum in the most cost-effective way. We're also seeing increased cost in summer school and New Horizons due to increased salaries and enrollment. Athletic officiating, largely because our students rock, so this takes us to regionals and beyond. Band and choral operations, similar, but also to replace aging instruments and maintain that high-quality program and experiences that we offer to students. We've also seen increased costs for alternative education and dual enrollment. Now, dual enrollment was always on the program. We knew this when we adopted this, that there would be steady increases as we increased the number of students in our cohort. We've actually been able to reduce that ask based on the amount of certified staff within our building so that we're not going out as much to the Virginia Peninsula Community College campus, and through online offerings offered by Virginia Peninsula, now offered at no cost. And expanding virtual access to students when being in the traditional setting is not always the best fit for them, to ensure they still have access to a standard diploma. We're also approaching the creation of a new strategic plan, and we're requesting funding to conduct a thorough needs assessment and audit of our current structures. Aviation Academy and Odyssey of the Mind, the funding request for Aviation Academy has increased to match the enrollment cost. We're also including support for Odyssey of the Mind, a program with a long-standing record of success in Poquoson. Again, our teams are advancing to worlds, all of them with top 10 finishes. This requires travel, materials, and supplies. We consider this a good problem to have, as our students are demonstrating creativity, collaboration, communication, and critical thinking on an international level. And of course, all of these instructional investments directly support our strategic plan. Focus Area 1, Objective 1, assess, enhance, and expand meaningful programs with real-world applications. Objective 2, develop and adopt highly effective instructional practices. Objective 3, use technology to enhance teaching and learning. And Focus Area 3, Objective 2 and 3, retain high-quality staff and promote shared accountability and continuous growth. I now want to move on to our multi-year school support plans. In December, I shared that we were federally identified for students with disabilities based on the data reported by VDOE. Since that time, PCPS has communicated multiple times with VDOE regarding the concerns of the accuracy of the data. We've been informed that our data remains under review, and we are awaiting their official response and findings. We maintain here at Poquoson City Public Schools that they used incorrect data to identify both the primary school and the elementary school as off track, and we maintain we are on track with correct data. In the meantime, we are required to submit a multi-year school support plan. As part of that requirement, a needs assessment was conducted during our February SEAC meeting. This process included parents, teachers, school and division administrators, school board member Ms. Caitlin Orsborn, and the team analyzed data, conducted a root cause analysis, and developed targeted goals, all within 2 hours. We were tired. A clear theme emerged: the need for strengthened professional learning focused on co-teaching practices, specially designed instruction, and effective implementation of IEP accommodations. These priorities have been embedded to an annual objectives and action steps within the 3-year multi-school support plan, along with specific goals focused on increasing student performance and academic growth. While it is listed as a 3-year plan, we can come out of this designation if they don't change our data in 1 year, but we're required to submit a 3-year plan. So you were provided in your board packet these plans. So tonight we're seeking board approval for the primary school and elementary school multi-year school support plans. Shameless plug for Learning Under the Lights again. We do have some volunteers lined up. We are going to be hosting an egg drop competition, so families can come prepared to drop an egg to see who wins. We have NASA and VDOT, Mad Science. A lot of people already signed up to come, so just keep that on your calendars. April 23rd, 5 to 7 p.m. at Poquoson Middle School. Hopefully outside, because the weather's going to be great. Looked it up. Okay. And future meetings to come. And are there any questions? Dr. Bartlett.
Couple of questions about the
Yes, ma'am.
but before that, I'd like to applaud you for that analogy with the restaurant and the menu. Curriculum person, that
Yes.
I had not heard, that was fresh for me, so I really enjoyed that. The multi-year plan, I have a couple of questions. I did a side-by-side on the 2 plans that were attached, and I understand the unique division of our elementary and our primary structure, although I have no idea if the state level understands that. Okay, so that's the first thing I just don't know. But I understand why there are 2 plans. But side by side, they are almost exactly
Yes.
identical, except the file name and reflects elementary versus primary. And then the header sheet, which is on page 17, I think. But it says PES for elementary in the elementary file. But then in the body of the document, it keeps referencing PPS, PPS, PPS. Now, I don't want to cast any aspersions on state folk, but I would imagine they would expect it to say PES, even if it's an exactly word-for-word identical plan. So I just wanted to throw that out there. That's
Sure. And
it
what we
makes
can
it
do,
look.
it really should say PES and PPS, so we'll
Okay.
fix that. In the state, actually in this, has been very responsive, totally separate from accountability and assessment, different group of people.
Right.
And they answered a lot of questions beforehand, and they are very aware of our pre-K 2, 3, 5 situation and encourage the plans to be identical because the data driving it is from the elementary school.
Right, yeah.
And so they actually were looking forward to our plans working in unison together and not having the division lift 2 separate plans. And so we will make sure that the wording says PPS and PES throughout both plans.
Okay, because in the 2 header sheets, it's split.
We have to submit 2 separate, but they can be the same plan.
Body is where it just says PPS through the whole thing.
Okay.
Okay, so that was just a little nuts and bolts thing. My other question is, this is a very detailed plan.
Yes.
I mean, down to, it could be followed by, I mean, it's very easy to understand if you will read it all. It's pretty intense. My question is, and this is not random, but how much of the plan, percentage-wise, this is just, give me a ballpark if you can, is new additional interventions in addition to all the stuff y'all are already doing.
Well, that was also welcome information to hear, was that because this information came to us in January, they expected us to go back and lift up all the work that we had done since the beginning of the school year as well. And we were very thankful for that, because it can be very difficult to implement a plan, essentially at, say, March. By the time the board approves it here, I have to submit it to the VDOE for their approval. And now they've had an opportunity to give me feedback, but I suspect, like with any other application we submit, there'll be even additional feedback once it's submitted. So essentially, we have March through June to implement this. And so it was very much so, what have we already done? And what can we intensify a little bit more? So we did go back and look at all the changes that we had made from the beginning of the school year, make sure they were highlighted in some way in this plan so that it was feasible for our team to do this work.
That's what, I was picking that up as I'm reading, I'm going, wait a minute, they've already, and in response, because even though our data is being still investigated, and we don't know how long that might take, it's still borderline, even if it ends up in our favor.
Yes.
And so I knew that there was a big concern that even if we get this data mess up fixed, we're still not where we want to be. So I'm happy that that's reflected in this plan. So that,
Yes, and we reflected on our data before we were identified, knowing that we have a gap that we wanted to close, so action was taken regardless of the identification, and so we really sought to lift up the work of the teachers and the administrators that are already doing this.
questions. Thank you.
Thank
If
you.
I were a teacher receiving this, I would be very happy.
Good, well, our next plan is, once it's approved, and if the state doesn't come back and say whatever it says, then we'll meet with all of the teachers at each of the schools to sit down with them, as we only had a select group at the stakeholder, because that's what it called for.
Thanks.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next, Mr. Roberts for the operations update.
I just saw this. Am I still frozen?
All right, well, good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Mr. Tillett, staff, and community members. I want to first start with the transportation update. I'm pleased to announce we're right at about 50% complete with the bus patrol install. That's the stop arm cameras that are going to be installed on the buses. And along with that, that second bullet point is what I'm really excited about as well. That accompanies with the interior and exterior cameras that will give us live feeds and some cloud access so we can get rid of those tapes that may or may not work. So excited about that. We have been meeting with the police and bus patrol regularly, and we've got a kind of a soft start date of March 16th planned for the actual, we'll call it the 30-day warning period, where it's completely live, everything is functioning. If somebody receives a violation, it will go to the police to verify, so the whole process will kind of get a practice, and those people would receive a letter in the mail saying, hey, if this was not the warning period, you would be given that fine. But it will be a 30-day warning period, and we'll start advertising this to the community pretty soon. Also, the bus app, Stop Finder, different than the bus patrol. I know this could be confusing, but the Stop Finder app, which is the parent app that tracks the buses, we were at 33% last board meeting, and we did kind of a campaign to get those numbers up, and we're up to 42% usage now. So moving in the right direction, was pleased with that. And some exciting news, we do have one new driver in the HR process right now. So if all goes well, we'll see an improvement there as well. All right, safety update. Very excited about today. We've been planning. We were awarded a grant that helped us fund some of these weapon detection systems. So just kind of as a refresher, the Open Gate weapon detection system, it's not a metal detector. It's actually very smart technology that recognizes the signatures of weapons and things of that nature that you shouldn't have on you, and then alerts, and that allows our administrators to go to work if something like that would occur. But today was the first day at PHS. We did have a glitch. The sensor settings needed some adjustments. We learned that, So today was a little longer. We still got everybody buttoned in by 7:30, which wasn't too bad. Seeing I was there and I was trying to do some head counts in the line, and around 7:15 a.m., there was a mass movement of students. It's all of our drivers. They were coming from all the various parking lots. And I counted, 84 students at once that just hit the door with only 5 minutes to go before the bell. So, that kind of increased the delays, and some, straggled in even after the 7:20 bell. But overall, very proud of Dr. Winchester, all the administrators, and the staff that helped. I do believe that was her school leadership team that conducted those screenings today. Great job. I think it was a great first day. And we look to increase the processing speed significantly starting tomorrow, just because of that one little setting change that will help speed things up for sure. But congrats, and I couldn't ask for more for the first day there. All right, moving on to a topic we discussed last month. We kind of give you a preview of the calendar that we were going to bring to you today to approve, if you so wish. But basically, you have two different reading files. You have the 26-27 full calendar, and that 27-28 just holiday only to consider for approval. In the board packet, along with those two reading files, you also see a calendar Q&A that was based off all the different groups, the stakeholder groups that we got involved in the calendar process, which included these bullet points that here I just kind of summarized. One, I kind of wanted to talk about the first bullet there about half days, because it seems like in every group that we met with, this was a topic of where to land those half days. Fridays always come up as a popular choice, and we can certainly, move. That's, the board's decision where that lands. But, historically through the nation, if you read the data, Mondays and Fridays are historically the worst attended days of any school week. I, and with the help of Kim Montalvo and Marion King, pulled some data to see what our attendance was like on the days that we actually did our half day, and one step further, what was the day after like attendance-wise. Did some research. VDOE really wants us to have 95% attendance rate or better daily. And I'm pleased to announce on each day, no matter if it was Wednesday or Thursday or the Thursday following or the Friday following, our average attendance was between 94 and 95% consistently. So that, I think, spoke volumes to our decision to keep it kind of in the middle of the week to protect that attendance and not risk some absenteeism occurring and impacting some accountability numbers as well. So very pleased with that data. I think the lowest I found one given day this year so far as the half day was 91%. So I thought that was pretty compelling that we're I think in a good spot. On the Wednesdays, I think overall the lowest day I thought or saw was 87%. So not where we want it, but not drastically terrible. So very, very promising on the half-day selection for the days there. And of course, when you read through the packet, it has Q&As on all these things that we kind of already discussed at the previous meeting. All right, on to the PHS roof project. Just trying to keep you in the loop here. The contract has been signed. I've talked to the gentleman, Colin, that came to that one board meeting. They're raring ready to go. Hopefully the weather will permit the start of this to begin during spring break, where this this restoration of the roof has no odor and very, it's quiet. They're not beating and banging too much. We can do the bulk of this work still with the building occupied, so we're not going to have to kick out the high school for a second straight summer. We had to do that for the HVAC last summer. So very promised to be able to gain a lot of ground even when people are occupying the building. We are, currently monitoring any leak that is occurring. We do have some weak spots in the building that we're trying to repair in the meantime, and also putting some canopy systems with some drains to, if it gushes sometimes, depending on the rain and wind direction, to put them into containers that we can dump. We're not wetting tiles, and if that occurs, we're cleaning that stuff up and making sure above and below the ceiling is 100% dry at all times. I have had some people reach out to me about air quality testing, and I'm just going to kind of go on record and say we have performed this test as recent as right before winter break. And if you don't know anything about how air quality testing is conducted, basically you do an outside air sample and an inside air sample, however many you want to do, and your goal is to be at or below the exterior air sample to be considered, a good air quality. Pleased to announce ours was well below, sometimes in certain areas of the building, 72 more times below the level that was, measured from the outside that day. So we are keeping an eye on that. Also worth mentioning, this new HVAC system we installed last summer. It has ionizers, DOAS units, and a series of advanced filters. And basically what I'm trying to tell you is we're pulling in very fresh air that's conditioned, controlling that humidity, and all the ionizers and filters are doing their job to take those contaminants out of the system, both inside and the air that they're drawing out from the outside, okay? All right, and continuing the theme tonight, budget with our recruit, retain, and grow. The first thing I want to mention, being part of HR, is 82% of this budget is for personnel. I think that shows our commitment to our greatest resource, our staff. And the only thing I would like to say, our goal is just to remain competitive. We've made some great ground last year with the compensation study. Hope to be able to continue that progress and remain competitive. Unfortunately, like the thing that Ms. Odd started here, is everything is increasing. We have some aging buildings. I looked up the square footage. This is a rough number. We have a little over 322,000 square feet of building space to maintain. To kind of put it in perspective, and thank you, Ms. Spence, for the idea, that's roughly just under 6 football fields, if that gives you a better picture in your mind. So a lot of space that is aging. We're doing a good job, I think, on the bigger items like the HVAC systems, the roofs, but there's still painting. There's still those costs that add up, that if you don't keep on top of things, it really makes the building run down. So all those things that we're talking about, though, come at a price, and they just continue to increase. Transportation is no different. Our fleet maintenance, that's the preventative maintenance piece, all the oil changes, the regens, everything on our buses, those prices have increased. And, even though we're making great advances with our school security, which we should, that's our main priority, that does come with costs associated as well. So, nothing is new. Everything that we're proposing in this budget as far as operating is something that is already existing. Excuse me. But unfortunately, the price is not the same as last year. Okay. And that's all I have, unless you have questions.
I just, going way back to the bus app for Stop Finder, how many, because we're only at 42%, but how many of the percentage that are not signed up are middle and high school students? I just think about knowing my own kids. They have their cell phones. I'm not as worried. But when they were in primary and elementary, so I'm just curious, do we know that?
I can get a breakdown of that. That's not something I had prepared tonight, but I could definitely look at that and give that to you in a report. I imagine you're right. The bulk majority probably would be the lower grade levels that have signed up. It's just any initiative, and I'm one of those people that I like to see that number higher. So, yeah.
And I guess we're kind of going in order. Right after that, I believe, was the weapon detections. Sure, yeah. So we'll move to that, the next slide there. Again, understanding security measures are not necessarily something that you would talk in detail about in a public forum for obvious reasons. But just to confirm my recollection, and for everyone else's benefit as well, these are the mobile units still. So these are not permanently installed at the high school. They are still mobile and can be, they were funded with a grant, is that correct? Okay, and they could still move to other buildings if needed fairly quickly.
Yeah, I could get them set up anywhere, drive time in 5 minutes, we're up and running, so, yep.
And currently, are there any plans to, I know we have done this at the high school, but at the moment, there are no set plans to go to any of the lower schools as far as an entryway procedure, unless there were to be a specific event or a need for those mobile units in those locations. We're kind of sticking to the high school at the moment, if that's vague enough.
Secondary is our focus for right now. That statistically is the area that, unfortunately, we're finding these things across the nation. So that's the focus at the beginning, but you said it exactly right. These things are mobile, and if there's a need that arises, we can definitely take care of that.
Last question. How many units do we have?
We have 6.
We have 6.
Yep.
Thank you.
I have a question about, were the high school students aware that this was going to be started today?
Well, I don't know about the time. I don't know, did we actually tell them the day? Next week, yeah. we give, a lot of messages to the parents. Dr. Winchester and staff did a good job of not going class to class, but giving it to teachers to announce class to class to get, the student body well informed of what to expect. And overall, I think it shocked them that it was today, but it was like, oh yeah, I got to get out this. So they knew the drill. It was just, oh, it's today,
There were a lot of social media posts
Yeah.
about the lines
Sure.
coming out of the school.
Sure.
So I was wondering if
Yeah.
they were gobsmacked, and didn't
No,
know.
they were well informed. The line thing, like I said, we did have a settings issue with the sensor, and I think that slowed it up a bit. But, for the first day, these things take time to master. And, getting buttoned up by 7:30, especially when 84 students piled in at 7:15, I think we did a pretty tremendous job working them in. Yep. But, yeah, tomorrow, I guarantee a quicker result. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Last item is finance and budget update with Ms. Spence.
Okay. Good evening, Chair Burbidge, Vice Chair DeBose, members of the school board, Mr. Tillett, and members of the school community. This evening, we will review the superintendent's proposed FY27 budget, highlighting our key priorities and major funding considerations. A copy of the proposed budget has been provided to you at the dais, and it will be available online at the Poquoson City Library tomorrow. I think I went back too far. Yeah, here we go. This slide highlights the strategic investments the board, with the support of our city council, made in fiscal year '26. Approximate $1,850,000 compensation package was funded. This investment prioritized recruitment, retention, and recognition of our staff, and enabled Poquoson to become a competitive in attracting and retaining high-quality teachers and support personnel, while acknowledging the continued dedication and performance of our employees. There was $115,000 set up for dual enrollment, the Canvas software, and certification licensure cost. This allocation supported expanding academic opportunities and professional growth, as Ms. Ide referred to earlier. Funding for the dual enrollment increased access to college-level coursework for our students, helping them earn college credit while in high school. Providing funding for Canvas continued strengthening instructional delivery and communication across the division. Support for certification and licensure ensured our staff maintained required credentials and pursue advanced qualifications, directly benefiting classroom instruction and program quality. There was $40,000 for AP testing, which increased student access to advanced placement testing by reducing financial barriers. The support for AP exam costs helped to ensure that all students, regardless of economic background, have the opportunity to earn college credit and demonstrate college readiness. This slide illustrates the breakdown between personnel and non-personnel expenditures for the 26-27 budget. As you can see, and as Mr. Roberts referenced earlier, 82% of total expenditures are associated with personnel cost. This reflects the reality that public education is a people-driven organization. The services we provide, instruction, student support, transportation, food services, operations, and administration are delivered by dedicated professionals. Because staffing represents the largest share of our budget, even modest changes in compensation, benefits, or staffing levels have a significant overall impact. This also underscores that our primary investment is in the individuals who directly serve our students each day. The remaining 18% of expenditures supports operational costs such as instructional materials, technology, utilities, transportation, and other non-personal expenses necessary to maintain high-quality learning environments. Ultimately, this chart reinforces that our budget priorities are centered on people and the direct support of student learning. This chart reflects how positions are funded across the division. State funding supports approximately 80% of our instructional positions and only 49% of our support positions. That means a significant portion of our staffing, particularly in support roles, is funded locally. Local funding bridges the gap to ensure we can maintain class size targets, provide student support services, operate transportation and facilities, and meet the day-to-day needs of our schools. While the state provides the majority of funding for instructional staff, it does not fully fund the level of staffing required to meet our community's expectations or our division's standards. This slide underscores the critical role local investment plays in sustaining the staffing levels necessary to support students comprehensively, not just in the classroom, but across all the operational and support functions. This slide provides a comparison of our per-pupil expenditures among neighboring school divisions and within the state. As shown in the chart, our division ranks 120 out of 131 school districts in Virginia in per-pupil spending. We are the lowest in the Region 2 Tidewater area. While we operate with fewer dollars per student, our student performance outcomes remain strong and consistently rank among the highest in the region. This comparison demonstrates again our commitment to fiscal responsibility and operational efficiency. We are maximizing available resources while continuing to deliver high levels of academic achievement. At the same time, this information provides important context. Sustaining strong outcomes while operating below regional spending averages requires strategic planning, strong staff performance, and continued local support. Our success reflects the dedications of our educators and the community's investment in our school. These charts illustrate a notable enrollment trend. Since fiscal year 25, our division's ADM has steadily increased, while the overall trend across the Commonwealth of Virginia has declined significantly. This contrast is important. In a period when many divisions are experiencing enrollment losses and the associated reductions in state funding, our growth reflects the strength of our schools and the continued confidence of our community. From a financial perspective, increasing ADM has a direct impact on revenue. Because state funding is largely driven by student enrollment, growth in ADM generates additional state funding. However, enrollment growth also creates added cost. More students require additional instructional staff, classroom resources, transportation capacity, technology, and support services. While growth strengthens our funding base, it also increases operational demands. As a result, we carefully balance staffing, class sizes, and program capacity to ensure we maintain the high-quality educational experience our community expects. Overall, this trend positions us favorably compared to many divisions, but it also requires thoughtful planning to ensure sustainable growth and continued academic success. As discussed in prior meeting, Poquoson's Local Composite Index, otherwise known as the LCI, increased from 0.3466 to 0.3806 for the upcoming biennium. Under the state funding formula, an increase in LCI can result in a reduced share of state funding, depending on the total state funding. As a result, PCP's proportion of fiscal year 27 state support has decreased due to this change in LCI, and that was shared with you during our meeting two months ago. So. This chart reflects a 12-year trend analysis of state, local, and federal revenue. Over this period, we have seen fluctuations in each revenue source driven by enrollment changes, economic conditions, legislative action, and one-time federal stimulus funding. State and local funding remain our primary revenue sources, with local funding playing, as mentioned earlier, a critical role in maintaining stability when state funding levels shift. Federal revenue shows temporary increases during the years in which ESSER and other pandemic-related funds were available, followed by a return to more typical levels as those one-time funds expired. This long-term view highlights two key points. First, our revenue structure is heavily dependent on state and local funding. Second, temporary federal funding provided short-term support but did not create a sustainable ongoing funding stream. Understanding these trends helps frame our current budget decisions and reinforces the importance of continued local investment to maintain program stability and student performance over time. This slide outlines the state assumptions that was used in developing the superintendent's proposed fiscal year 27 budget. Our budget was built based on the governor's proposed budget, which was released in 2025. Included in that proposal is a 2% salary increase for SOQ recognized instructional and support positions. It is important to note that state funds only those positions recognized under the SOQ formula, as I showed earlier. Any additional positions funded locally, as well as any other compensation adjustments beyond the state-supported amount, must be supported with local dollars. Based on a projected ADM of 2,065, which is up from the ADM for fiscal year 26 of, at this time it's 2,057, we anticipate a net increase of $84,182 in state revenue. While this represents additional funding, it's modest relative to overall personnel cost and ongoing operational needs, and that directly gets back to the LCI increase. This slide highlights that, again, our revenue projections are tied closely to both state budget actions and enrollment, and the state proposed increases do not fully cover the total cost impact at the local level, which I'll share in a couple of slides. So this is a breakdown of projected changes in state funding between the original budgets. While SOQ funding shows an increase of $418,423, there is a corresponding decrease in incentive and categorical funding, most notably in the compensation supplement category. It is important to note that this reduction for this compensation supplement does not represent a true loss of funding. Approximately $700,000 of this fiscal year 26 compensation supplement funding is being rolled into the SOQ funding for 27. In other words, the funding is shifting categories rather than being eliminated. We also see a small increase in hold harmless funding and lottery funding programs, along with a small decrease in other incentive and categorical programs. After accounting for all the adjustments, we get to the state funding increase of $84,182. While the internal shifts between categories appear significant, the overall net impact to the division is minimal. This underscores that despite movement within funding streams, the total increase in state support is relatively limited in the context of our full operating budget increase. This summarizes the net increases and decreases in state and federal funding, and it highlights the resulting impact on the local funding request. As we've discussed in the previous slides, the overall net increase in state revenue reflects limited growth. At the same time, our division continues to experience modest enrollment growth, rising personnel costs, and increased operational expenses. Because state and federal revenue growth does not fully cover these ongoing costs, as mentioned earlier, it must be addressed through local funding. As a result, this chart reflects a significant increase in the local funding request of $1,064,377. In short, the increase in the local request is not driven by new expansion, as we referred to, I referred to earlier, but by the need to sustain competitive compensation, support enrollment growth, address the aging facility needs that was reviewed earlier, and maintain, again, the high level of performance. So now we're going to start looking at what's making up our budget. The largest component is the proposed 2% salary increase regarding the personnel-related cost, totaling $432,900. If this increase supports, again, our attempt to remain competitive in recruitment and retention. We're also projecting a 5% increase in health insurance cost, which cost approximately $144,600. Like many other employers, we continue to experience rising benefit costs, which are largely outside of our direct control. What I'll mention here, two meetings, I think, ago, it was at 9%, and they got it down to 5%. So we had some savings there. Additionally, $48,500 reflects that curriculum item, SOL remediation costs that were previously supported through All in Virginia funds. With these state carryover funds no longer available, these expenses must now be absorbed in the operating budget. Finally, we anticipate a $30,000 increase in workmen's compensation costs. And a lot of that relates to our increased salaries and our experience modification rate. Although these factors result in a net total projected cost increase of $656,000. Again, it's all tied to the personnel and benefit obligations rather than new program expansion. We had 304.5 FTEs in FY26, and we have 304.5 FTEs in fiscal year 27. The next item is the instructional and student performance. $131,200 reflects cost associated with the New Horizon regional education programs. We are also absorbing $34,000 in instructional software and professional development costs that was previously funded through All in Virginia funds. Additional investments, as was reviewed earlier, is band and choral, expanded dual enrollment, which had been planned last year, and funding for strategic plan development. These allocations directly support academic rigor, program quality, and long-term division planning. In total, these instructional and student performance initiatives represent a net projected cost increase of $291,100. These investments are focused on sustaining academic excellence, expanding our student opportunities, and then maintaining our program quality across the division. This is the slide which deals with the primary increases related to maintenance, transportation, and technology. A significant portion of these costs reflect the ongoing needs of maintaining aging facilities. The increases in contract service cost, building materials, painting, and capital outlay are necessary to preserve the condition of our schools, address our wear and tear, and prevent more costly repairs in the future. As our facilities continue to age, proactive maintenance becomes increasingly important to ensure safe, functional learning environments for students and staff. On the transportation side, fleet maintenance costs continue to rise as buses age and require more frequent servicing and parts replacement. Also, if our fleet as a total increases. Investments in stop finder and bus navigation software enhance routing efficiency and communication with families, while bus equipment, safety equipment funding directly supports student safety. These expenditures ensure our transportation system remains reliable, compliant, and safe. Technology increases, including division-wide and library software, as well as lease contracts, support daily instruction, operations, and cybersecurity needs. Overall, these categories represent a net projected cost increase of $188,800. These are not expansionary costs, but rather necessary investments to maintain safe facilities, ensure transportation safety, and also just sustain operational reliability across the entire division. Let's see here. This slide summarizes the fiscal year 27 proposed revenues, much of which we have discussed in the previous slides. The total proposed fiscal year 27 budget is $33.3 million, representing an increase of approximately $1.07 million or 3.32% over fiscal year 26. As reflected in the chart, state funding continues to represent the largest share of our revenue at 55%, followed by local funding at 42%, and federal funding at 3%. This chart reinforces the overall funding structure of our division. This summarizes the fiscal year 27 proposed expenditures. Again, it's at $33.3 million. Instruction represents the largest portion of expenditures at approximately 70% of the total budget. When combined with transportation, operations and maintenance, technology, and district-wide support, the majority of our spending directly supports classroom instruction and student services. This breakdown, again, reinforces two key points. Our budget is heavily concentrated in instruction and personnel-driven services. And second, non-instructional areas such as maintenance, transportation, and technology represent necessary operational supports rather than areas of significant expansion. So this shows how the increase in city funding was calculated to be $1,064,377. A public hearing on the proposed budget will be held at the regular meeting on Tuesday, March 17th at 6 o'clock. Also included in your budget package is information related to your fiscal year 27 pay plan. The teachers and licensed administrator salary schedules have been adjusted to reflect the proposed 2% salary increase. We have also added targeted supplements to strengthen student programs and leadership development, including administrative intern and mentor stipends up to $5,000 depending on the need of the school division. Excel Club and Leo Club, both funded at $600 each. The Summer Strength Coach at $3,000. The Girls Wrestling Coach, just noted, is now included under the Varsity Head Wrestling. They'll get the same stipend as the boys. The Musical Pit Conductor, $500, and the Musical Choreographer at $200. I will just make a note, in your pay plan, that's in section 10, the musical pit conductor and musical choreographer amounts have been switched. They will be corrected in the pay plan that's uploaded tomorrow, as well as the one that's going to be in the Poquoson Library. This is just a note that the capital improvement budget's coming up for the 2028 to 2032, and that will be presented in the board meeting in May. And again, many thanks for the continued support of our city manager, the city council, and the school board. We appreciate it. Now, for any questions, or Mr. Tilton. Right?
Just, our projected ADM increase is going to be 9 souls. I just find that really interesting because when Legacy, and I know this isn't our purview here, but ADM is, and when all of the construction was going on, housing, people were like really fussing and about, oh my God, the schools won't be able to handle this, but our projection is only 9 people. I find that really fascinating.
Yeah, there's a lot to that. It's an interesting dance going on here. The addresses in Legacy have increased of school-age children by, I think, over 45, if I'm not mistaken, the last count we looked. But our overall ADM has only grown from our projection of this year, which we landed somewhere early in the year, and 9 additional kids where we are right now. That's why we chose that number. What we think is happening is people are moving from other places in Poquoson to Legacy, perhaps from flood-prone areas or a variety of address changes. It doesn't necessarily mean a net gain for us. As well, about 25% of our population are military-connected families, and that group of families often are transient. They get orders and move from one place to another, and sometimes that happens in pools of children when a squadron or a group moves out to another area, or a group of military-connected families move. We have seen that influx and exit of families happen throughout the year for many, many years, simply because of the transient nature of military-connected families. So you put all of that together in the wash, and what you end up with is right now a net gain of about 9 kids over our projected number from this year. We're still anticipating increased population from Legacy and a couple other smaller communities that are developing. I still see a lot of trampolines and bicycles in the Legacy community, and that usually translates to ADM for us. But
Thank you.
Good observation.
Thanks.
Marty, can you just provide a little bit more color to the 2024 ADM and exactly how that was actually pulled, just so everybody...
Exactly. ADM is an interesting formula in and of itself. It's not enrollment. It's actually average daily membership, so it accounts for attendance and a variety of other things. We use first a projection that comes from the state. They project our average daily membership from a formula that they use. As well, we consult with Weldon Cooper, the state demographers. So it's all a kind of a crystal ball process to try to figure out where it's going to land. March 20 in a given year is D-Day for enrollment, for ADM count, and your funding is actually balanced on that from that date. So wherever we are at that particular moment in time is what drives the funding, the actual funding. But we have to make a targeted guess to put in what we call the calc tool, which is how we calculate all of these numbers. And that number, you want to be safe because the state giveth and the state taketh away. So if we over-project that number, and we did that, if you'll recall, those of you who were on the board a few years back, we were pretty confident that in the projection from Weldon Cooper that we were going to grow X number, and we missed that target by, you remember how many it was, Tracy?
Significant.
Significant number.
In 24.
It was. And when you miss it, you have to give that money back, or they don't actually give you those last installments. Had it not been for some vacancy savings and which we were able to use as carryover funds to make that work, we would have been in a mess. So you want to be real careful to slide into home plate, at the right number on the 20th. But at the same time, every child in the formula accounts for about somewhere around $7,300 of per pupil allotment from the state. So, you want to hit it just right. And we want to be within that narrow window of not overestimating or underestimating the ADM.
Like a Goldilocks, kind of not too hot, not too cold.
Exactly.
But if you had to make an error, it's better to err on the side of conservatism. Because you can still adjust at the beginning of next year, correct?
Exactly, and that's always been our philosophy, but at the same time, if you can be pretty confident that you're going to end up there, you can build your budget around a more accurate number. And you don't want to leave money on the table because that money doesn't get adjusted till March. The year's mostly over, yeah. If there are no more questions, I just want to take this moment publicly to thank Ms. Spence and her team, our administrative team upstairs, the executive leadership team, Mr. Roberts, Ms. Ide. I'd love to know the hours, but it's too many to count that are in a budget this comprehensive. Nights, weekends, a lot of work goes into building a budget like this. I want to publicly thank this team for all their hard work. In addition to that, it starts early in the year, as you all well know, with our teams in the schools, our principals, our directors, leadership throughout the community, and then working directly with every staff member. I always say, it's listed as the superintendent's budget. It's really every single human being associated with Poquoson Public Schools has a role to play in this budget, and ask for the things that they need to do their work successfully. And then we have to make hard decisions about what can survive the budget. You can't fund everything. And then we have to go to work with projecting revenue from state, and then asking for our local funding partners in the city who do incredible work without a large funding stream to support these schools. So I appreciate so much personally, and I think I speak for the community with the hard work that goes into this effort, and also our funding partners down the hall with now doing their enormous task of trying to have the revenue to match this, and they're going to do everything they can, but it's a significant challenge this year with the LCI, as you've heard multiple times, going up. That affects our state funding significantly. So thank you all.
Moving along, item 6, public comment. Ms. Carroll, do we have anyone here for public comment?
We have 2 speakers this evening, Chair Burbidge.
Okay. Before you guys get started, let me read a public comment statement. The Poquoson School Board welcomes public comment during regular meetings. School board members do not respond to public comment during a meeting. All comments should address a matter related to Poquoson Public Schools. The school board will not hear public comment that involves an individual student-related matter, the disclosure of which would violate applicable confidentiality requirements. The school board expects that each speaker will be courteous, modeling for our students how one can respectfully disagree with others' views. Speakers will address their comments to the entire school board and not to one individual board member, nor to the superintendent, a staff member, or the audience. Speakers are encouraged not to engage in personal attacks. Speakers will present their comments from the podium. To follow school board policy, time allotted to speakers shall be 3 minutes.
First speaker is Emberly Little from Poquoson Avenue regarding the school calendar.
Okay. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Emberly Little. I have 3 students within Poquoson schools. I have a child in IPOP, a child at the primary school, and a child at the elementary school. So school matters. I came to speak, I believe I'm pretty much a month late, unfortunately, but I came to speak on the proposed school calendar, specifically about half-days. I believe I speak for a large majority of parents who believe that half-days are very frustrating and not worth the learning time for our students, especially young students. I have multiple friends and family members who are teachers within Poquoson schools who feel like not much learning is actually accomplished in the short amount of time that students are there during half days. And then also most of the other half of the half days are what I think are mostly professional development instead of like actual planning and prep time for our teachers, which I think is very important for my child's teacher to have time during their contract hours to have planning time and prep time. And so I just really don't love half days in general for those reasons. I also, like I said, have an IPOP student. They are currently in the morning class, but next year for this proposed calendar, they will be in the afternoon class. There are currently, I believe, 7 half days on this calendar, meaning my IPOP student will not have school for 7 of those calendar days, which is really upsetting for me as a paid participant of IPOP. And then I asked public opinion on social media, and there were 0 comments in support of half days. There were only negative comments on social media, so that tells me that other parents also feel the same way. I wish that this would have been proposed in like a survey or questionnaire to parents to actually get parents' opinion, and that I did hear mention of groups, so that might have been a thing that I just am not aware of. So my proposal for a solution, because I do see the answer in the question and answer section of that proposal, and I heard it presented, is that the issue is, I'm going to run out of time, is attendance. I would actually propose that instead of 7 half-days, we maybe look at getting rid of half-days like most of the other surrounding districts have done, and actually move towards more 3-day, am I allowed to continue? I'm sorry.
How much time do you have left?
Like 30 seconds. I can
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry. To where we would have more like 3-day weekends where teachers could have half of that day as professional development and then half of that day to planning, and then the attendance problem to me wouldn't be as much of a problem because you would have those half days as full days back, and that would solve the solution of, or the problem of teachers not having that as planning time. And then also I know that bus driver retention and some support staff are a problem, so unless I'm incorrect, like that would give those support staff an opportunity to have those 3-day weekends off, instead of, that's also 7 days where those bus drivers are on a different schedule and have their middle of the day interrupted to have to take students at a different time. And then again, just speaking for the working parent, I thankfully have a job as a nurse where I can have those days off and plan those days off. But for the majority of working parents that work Monday through Friday, especially who have younger kids that require supervision and childcare, they have to take the entire day off or find paid childcare for their students. So, thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Austin Overmeyer from Poquoson Avenue regarding calendar and half-days.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for your introduction to my same topic. I'll hit it from a little bit of a different angle. I looked at all the other school districts that we have in the area. So we've got Newport News, Hampton, York County, and looked at their schedules. None of the other school districts have half-days. We were the sole school district that have half-days. And I think this really propagated from a pandemic era when we were giving that Wednesday half-day is kind of when it started. However, most families at the time were, especially in an area like this where you mentioned 25% military families, were federal employees that were also teleworking. Federal employees are not able to telework anymore, and most private businesses are not teleworking anymore. So this puts really an undue burden on families, especially with 2 working parents, to have these half-days. I think by my count, it's 11 days of half-days. That's 11 days out of the school year that I need to take off work to, all my children are younger, either elementary or primary school. So I'd really ask you to consider how these half-days are scheduled, and I would like to see us move more towards 3-4-day weekends with full days off. I think this transient community that we have without support family close by would allow us to either take time off with families and increase attendance by having these days off. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Ms. Carroll, that's the end of the public comment?
Yes, those are all our speakers for this evening.
Okay. Thank you all for providing public comment tonight. We appreciate it. The next item up for discussion is the consent agenda. We have item A, approval of financial reports. Item B, authorization to change appropriations and to accept and expend funds in accordance with attached request. Item C is approval of personnel action. Item D is approval of minutes for January's regular meeting. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Ms. Carroll, the vote, please.
Dr. Bartlett,
Aye.
Vice Chair Dubose,
Aye.
Ms. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. Orsborn,
Aye.
Chair Burbidge. Changed?
Aye.
Vote passes 5-0.
Okay, moving along to item 8, other matters for consideration. The first item is a motion to approve the recommended draft PCPS calendar for the 2026-2027 school year, reading file enclosed. Can I have a motion to approve the calendar?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions and discussion?
All right, so I'll start. The topic of half-days obviously is at the forefront of discussion every year. And could we, I have had some offline discussions, but I do think it's valuable, to just kind of reiterate my understanding. I have worked a job when my children were young that would have made these half-days extraordinarily difficult to work for my family. So I do hear that. Very, very close to my heart. However, I also hear that the overwhelming request from our calendar committee seems to be that our faculty tend to see value in the half-days, and I also don't wish to remove them if the benefit is there from a professional development and/or planning standpoint, however they are used. So could we just speak to that publicly here and then?
Absolutely. Thank you for teeing that up, because that is the feedback we hear year after year since the half-days were added during COVID and thereafter. There's several challenges. One is work days is really what we're talking about, and we would love to add work days and one of the speakers recommended that. The problem is the calendar law. If you add a day, you have to take it from somewhere else. We have to do 180 days. Half-days count as a school day. So we are able to do a half-day and count that as one of the 180 days, or 2 or 10 or however many. If you're not going to have students attend that day, then that day as a work day has to be another day has to be a student day. Now, we can look at taking it from Christmas, spring break, or adding them to the end of the school year. That's the calendar law. Now, the calendar also allows 990 hours of instruction. The goal is to build a 180-day calendar, which we have done. We use, as you've heard, multiple groups, parent group, staff, council, and our administrative team to vet these possible scenarios. We would love to just add 4 work days. They would certainly be productive days. But in order to do that and get 180 days in the calendar, you have to put them somewhere. So, for example, if we were to have a work day tomorrow, that day is not one of the 180 days in this calendar. It would have to be placed somewhere else. We did survey some time ago, I think it's been 3 or 4 years ago now, whether what was the community's sentiment on adding days at the end of the school year, and it was a overwhelming no. The calendar committees every year overwhelmingly say no. Various other school divisions around do some combination of that. I think, I don't want to quote their calendar without it in front of me, but I think York County's current calendar has a combination of some half-days and some full days, and those full days are added to the end of the calendar year. They go, I think we end on the 5th, Friday the 5th of June, and they go the next 3 or 4 days the following week. To add those days to the calendar. Now, that's my understanding. You do have to do 180 days or 990 hours of instruction. That's the state law. So we vetted this with multiple calendar committees, and this is where they land each year, the last several years, with a calendar that starts around this same time, ends around this same time, has the recognized holidays that Poquoson is used to. Another thing, for example, I just throw this out there, every year we discuss the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. That day, for example, could be a half-day. That would count as one of the 180 days, and then another day could be placed in the calendar as a work day, a full work day. And you know, we do have one full work day built in the year. We just had it a few weeks ago for Spark. But that's the calendar constraints. Now, there is a bill that's in the General Assembly as we speak to allow you to start earlier and end later. If that happens, there may be some talk to want to start the school year earlier to build time in the work days throughout the year. But again, the sentiment we heard from the last survey we did was we're already starting too early and finishing late enough. What just didn't seem to be any appetite to adding additional days in the year. Now that's kind of it in a nutshell. Do you have to have 11 days? Not necessarily. The days that we have built in there, 2 of those days are kind of unavoidable half days. They're not designed for professional development. They are designed for the homecoming and seafood festival. And those are early in the year. The other days are designed, one a month, that we've heard overwhelmingly from staff is necessary to do the work that we have to do. Learn new curriculum, 2 new curriculum or standard for social studies and science coming down the pike. We just finished English language arts and math, and this work has to happen sometime, and our teachers are overwhelmed at times with the work necessary to rebuild curriculum while you're teaching school. So this time we do some work as much as we can in the pre-service before school year starts, and we do the other lift of this effort throughout the year in these 8, 9 half days scattered throughout the year. Now, again, lots of ways to do that, but if you're going to take a day, full day to do this work, that day has to be placed somewhere to get to 180 school days. That's just kind of it in a nutshell. I know there's a long answer to your question, but I think it does frame it. And again, we've crawled through this with lots of people each year who serve on these committees who come in saying the same thing. We would like to have full work days instead of half days. And certainly we understand and sympathize with the burden that it places on families to do the half days. Well,
Marty, if I can just add a little bit of, underscore to a statement you made, or that, and this is coming from, being a spouse of a teacher and a son of a teacher, the importance of the half days, or any day for that matter, but more importantly, the half days for Poquoson teachers. We are a small school division. We rely heavily on our teachers and our staff to ensure that our students get the education that they deserve and that they get. And when you start comparing us to the larger districts, they have more staff to be able to support their teachers. Plain and simple, right? So
saw that in the budget, actually.
Right.
The per pupil cost, interestingly enough, that caught my eye on the half-day discussion.
So
expenditure.
it's, this isn't a matter of that, we're taking the half days lightly. This is truly for our teachers at the end of the day, so they can continue to provide the quality education that our students, and I think Artie said it very well. Unfortunately, the sacrifice that we would have to do if we did not do the half days, we'd have to increase our school year. So it's a little nuance that's different about Poquoson when you start trying to compare them to the larger surrounding districts that they just don't experience.
absolutely, Mr. DeBose, and even with that being said, which is 100% true, all of our neighboring school divisions do this work through work days in some capacity. Whether they do a combination, like I said, the last time I looked at York counties, for example, they had a combination of both, which is a great way to do it, but in order to do it, they have to move some of those days off to another, to the end of the year. There are other school divisions that have these 1 or 2 day work days within the year, and they pull that day from some other day. Or there are school divisions in the state that opt to not do 180 school days and to do only the 990 hours. But if you add up actual instructional time, they're getting less seat time with children than we do. And one thing we know is one of the reasons that we excel is that we have a lot of time with kids instructionally, high productive instructional time, and it pays off in great dividends. So we have always built a 180-day calendar in Poquoson. As far back as I could find, I couldn't find a calendar ever built that didn't include 180 days. And I went back many, many years. So that you can do it, it's not advised, and then if you get into inclement weather, I don't know what you do. We could fall back if we had to on the 990 hours if we could not make up all of our days or satisfy the state law with the virtual days that can only be used in an emergency. They can't be scheduled.
And to also reiterate, again, just trying to think of offline conversations that may not have been made clear here in a public forum, attendance is such a big deal as it is tied to state dollars.
Correct.
And we are already in a situation this upcoming year where our state dollars related to other formulas are decreasing, and that is a tremendous deal for a small locality. So just again, to make that clear, I do think that's an important piece of the entire equation.
Yeah, absolutely, especially as it relates to the Friday discussion. It comes up every year, and it's not new. Friday half-days have been discussed in public education my whole career, and this is year number 35 for me. I'm sure Dr. Bartlett can attest to this. It is the day that people choose. If you were to choose a day in the calendar to pick to have a professional development or half-day, it's also the poorest attended day of the week, and now that it's always been important for students to come to school. That's where the learning happens, and the fun, I like to say. But now that it's directly tied to the state accountability model, if we have poor attendance, 2 or 3 Fridays of poor attendance, and nationally, Fridays is about 20% worse attendance than the other days of the week. That's a national statistic, and ours is probably fairly close. A Friday half-day is abysmal. It's just too easy. And I'm not just talking about students. It is also a day when we would have a hard time getting our staff there completely. So there's a lot of dynamics to building this calendar. It's quite easy to just say we should do this. That's why I always say we put groups of people together who spend hours pouring through what the state law says, what other school divisions do, and then what is in the best interest of our students as it relates to instructional time and building this calendar. And like I said, I want to reiterate that we had a parent group, we had a faculty group, staff group, and also our administrative team vets these calendars and does that year after year to make sure that we're doing the right thing for these. And they're not easy decisions, as you all know, that you're getting ready to wrestle with now.
I know we need to get the vote, but I just want to just reiterate, we've talked a lot about why we're doing the half days right now. It's not to discount parents and, especially the two speakers that came here today. It's important to take all of that into account. And, next year, we may find that it changes based on the feedback we get from the teachers and the parents that are part of the calendar committee. So I don't want to discount, some comments that were made tonight and or, the community as a whole. So.
Absolutely. And one of my takeaways tonight is I'm going to also have our administrators do some straw polling to make sure that the value of these days collectively, we heard from a segment of our staff who serve on the calendar committee year after year. But I think it would be wise to go back and also kind of get a pulse on how valuable is this, knowing that it does create a strain for families. Because if it's not something we have to have, we can do away with it. But right now, our teams can't find another way to get this work done. You can't require, or nor should we ask our teachers to teach all day and then work in the evenings doing this work. One thing, I'm not sure it would be very productive work after you've taught school all day. This work has to happen sometime, and to Mike's point earlier, we believe strongly in building our curriculum and our pacing guides and our curriculum mapping and the work that happens here, because it generates great dividends for our students, rather than just kind of buying some program out there and teaching it. Although we do buy resources, as you all have invested in over the years, to help our teachers with that lift, the real work of this happens during those collaborative sessions throughout the year, and of course in our pre-service days and in the budget, all summer work that we do in helping to build this curriculum.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. Ms. Carroll, can we have the vote, please?
Dr. Bartlett,
Aye.
Vice Chair DuBose,
Aye.
Ms. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. Orsborn,
Aye.
Chair Burbidge.
Aye.
Vote passes 5-0.
Okay. Moving to the next item, item B is a motion to approve the recommended PCPS holidays for calendar year 27-28 school year. Can I have a motion to approve the 2027-2028
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? I would like to add that this is just to approve the holidays for the 27-28 school year, correct?
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay. So, any other questions or comments?
Just to be clear, no half-days, just in case anyone doesn't have the reading file in front of them. This is, kind of your
This is
state holidays, federal holidays, if you will.
That is correct, and this came, just to tee this up a little bit, also a request from the parent calendar committee, that oftentimes families prepare their holidays, travel, months in advance, years in advance, and so there are school divisions that do 2 calendars at a time. We're not recommending that for a couple of reasons. One, I think Mike mentioned earlier that, things could change. The calendar law is being discussed in the General Assembly right now. It may change something that we want to come back and build a next calendar or even amend this calendar. But parents have asked to have some understanding of when these holidays are. This is not a calendar, it's just, we're going to have spring break this week. And just to clarify, spring break is a kind of an agreement in the region. Always the first full week in April, so that we can partner with our regional programs. So one school's not out the following week or the week in advance. It's not connected to a religious holiday in any way. It's just the first full week in April. And there's usually 2 weeks at Christmas, and the calendar kind of drives when that is. And also those 3 days at Thanksgiving, which seems to happen around the region as well. Those are the primary ones, and then a general start date and end date, which right now is married to the calendar law, but that could change.
Any questions? Okay. Ms. Carroll, the vote, please.
Dr. Bartlett,
Aye.
Vice Chair DuBose,
Aye.
Ms. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. Orsborn,
Aye.
Chair Burbidge.
Aye.
Vote passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you. Item C is consideration of approval of School Board Resolution 26-02 to authorize the City Council to make an application through the Virginia Public School Authority to issue general obligation school bonds for school purposes. Can I get a motion to approve item C?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any questions? Yes, Dr. Bartlett?
It's just a clarifying question. So from the reading file, it seemed that we have actually two options for sources for this money. One is private loan, and the other is the, it's right in front of me, the Virginia Public School Authority to all we're approving here is to authorize the city council to make the application through the Virginia Public School Authority. Do they not need authority for the private, or we don't need their authority for the private?
That's correct. This is attached to public school funding. So, and we have Austin Sachs here with us tonight, who's the expert in this, and he's available for specific questions. This is my first run at this particular funding source. It does require a resolution from the school board for the city to go out and do this bond work, is my understanding.
Yeah.
Yep.
But both options will still be analyzed and contrasted?
Correct.
Okay, that was
That's
all.
my understanding.
That was my main.
Yeah, we'll be running these tracks simultaneously. This is just a procedural item giving authority to the city to make this application and, notifying VPSA of the city's intent to potentially participate in the pool.
And really, the goal here, more than anything, is purchasing power from a bond standpoint, right?
Yes.
It's an aggregation of a whole bunch of bonds, across the Commonwealth, and such that we can turn around and the city can actually get better rates than if they turn around and went to a single bond issuance, even if somebody would even issue a bond for the size that we're talking
Yep.
about.
Well said, board member.
Thank you. Thank you.
He knows this business pretty well.
Yeah.
And I was just curious too, if after this approval and we go this route, does that ultimately get posed to vote? I mean, to the electorate, if you will, or is that not this kind of bond? Does that make sense? No. It's just a school board resolution, a city council action of some kind, and then that's it. The city government would pursue the bond
Correct.
funding, however.
Yeah, and we've got that scheduled for March 9th. Just requirements of this type of bond issue will be a public hearing to issue general obligation bonds. And at that point, we'll have proposals from banks in hand, and we'll have a current estimate of the VPSA program and give our recommendation of the most cost-effective financing mechanism.
But no referendum, no public
No
referendum. Okay.
Got it.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Carroll, can we have the vote, please?
Dr. Bartlett?
Aye.
Vice Chair DuBose?
Aye.
Ms. Jones?
Aye.
Ms. Orsborn?
Aye.
Chair Burbidge?
Aye.
Vote passes 5-0.
Okay, last item is item D, is a motion for approval of PPS and PES multi-year support plans. Can I have a motion for approval of item D? Can I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. Ms. Carroll, the vote, please.
Dr. Bartlett?
Aye.
Vice Chair DuBose?
Aye.
Ms. Jones?
Aye.
Ms. Orsborn?
Aye.
Chair Burbidge?
Aye.
Vote passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you. Moving along to item 9 is communication and/or other matters by school board and/or superintendent. We'll start with Ms. Studd.
Our youngest learners have been busy this month. PPS celebrated Kindness Spirit Week with themed days and classroom activities designated to promote empathy, inclusivity, and respect. Students engaged in discussions and acts of kindness that reinforced positive behavior expectations and strengthened our overall school climate. The IPOP Open House provided families with insight into instructional practices and student learning for our youngest students. Parents and guardians had the opportunity to engage with classroom teachers, tour classrooms, and learn how our early childhood program supports the learning and developmental needs of a diverse population of 3- and 4-year-old students. First grade students participated in a money market experience that integrated math and financial literacy skills. Students made a product and were then able to earn money and make purchasing decisions, allowing them to apply concepts such as saving, spending, and making responsible choices in an engaging and fun manner. Thank you to all the families who joined the fun. Our amazing PTO helped spread kindness and positivity throughout the school by organizing candygram deliveries and supporting multiple student-centered activities. Our first PTO-sponsored activity was an immersive Sky Dome planetarium presentation that supported science standards related to space, the solar system, and astronomy. The interactive program enhanced student understanding through visual and experiential learning, reinforcing classroom instruction in an engaging and memorable way. The second PTO-sponsored activity was for our second grade students who welcomed meteorologist Evan Stewart from 13 News Now. Mr. Stewart shared an extreme weather presentation. This real-world connection enriched the science curriculum and sparked student curiosity through interactive discussion and hands-on learning about a real-world issue that impacts all of us. We are looking forward to a successful and fun second semester. Poquoson Elementary School is embracing the love for learning this February. We started the month with our teachers and staff attending our Spark Division Professional Learning Conference. We had teachers and staff engaged in learning sessions applicable to reading, math, science, social studies, and supporting students' positive behavior. Our students completed the mid-year SGA and VALS assessments, which help our students or our teachers make adjustments to instruction for the second semester. Our students shared notes of appreciation to our school counselor during School Counselor Appreciation Week, and we had many students and staff participate in our Kindness Spirit Week days leading up to Valentine's Day. We love that the Poquoson Education Foundation has supported our teachers and students by funding novel study grants for each classroom, along with funding STEM activities for our 5th grade STEM club. Our students continued the traditional Valentine's exchange within their classrooms, and our SCA partnered with our PTO to offer Valentine's candygrams to spread kindness to others throughout the school. Our PTO also hosted a family bingo night where so many of our families came together for an evening of fun and connection. We appreciate the continued support of Poquoson Elementary School. Moving on, February has been an exciting and busy month at Poquoson Middle School. Our students proudly celebrated Virginia Kindness Week, February 9th through the 13th, embracing daily themes and participating in kindness challenges that reinforced our commitment to a positive and supportive school culture. Kindness truly grows at PMS. Battle of the Classes was also in full force. Students showed tremendous school spirit through themed spirit days, minute to win it lunch competitions, coin wars, and the culminating evening competition in the gym. Sportsmanship was outstanding as teams performed before a packed house of families, students, and staff. 4 of our talented chorus students opened the event with a beautiful rendition of the national anthem, and Mr. Poquoson, the Poquoson Middle School pep band, delivered high-quality performances throughout the night. Congratulations to our 8th grade class for earning the coveted trophy. And sincere thanks to the staff and volunteers who made this memorable tradition possible. We are looking forward to welcoming families for our Rising Parent Information Nights this Thursday as we begin preparing for next year. A huge thank you is extended to the Poquoson Education Foundation for awarding Poquoson Middle School teachers with a total of $1,851 in grant money. Their support makes such a positive difference in our school community. Finally, congratulations to our February Golden Bowl Students of the Month. In 6th grade, we have Erin Peak. In 7th grade, we have Emmeline Dowd. And in 8th grade, we have Bentley Martinez. Poquoson High School has been incredibly busy this month, and we appreciate your patience as we share so much exciting news. PHS is preparing for the end-of-course writing SOL assessments, and students enrolled in 11th grade English will complete the 2-day assessment on March 4th and 5th. These will be asynchronous days for students not testing to ensure a quiet and appropriate testing environment. Thank you to our students for their cooperation as we implemented the Open Gate Weapons Detection System. Students adapted quickly, and we appreciate everyone's support as we refine this new process. Congratulations to the 17 students who represented PHS at all district band and delivered a wonderful performance on February 7th. Best of luck as the entire band prepares for the spring state assessment. We invite you to attend the preview concert on February 25th at the Poquoson Middle School Auditoria. Congratulations to Evolution's Show Choir on an outstanding start to their season at Clover Hill, earning first place in their division, best show design overall, and fifth place overall. We look forward to an exciting season ahead. Don't miss out watching our 17 students perform at District Chorus this Saturday at 2 p.m. Our winter athletes continue to excel. Scholastic Bowl dominated the region and advanced to states on February 28th. For the first time in Poquoson High School history, every wrestling weight class qualified for the state tournament this weekend, with 11 individual region champions and a team region 2A championship as well. Track competes in regionals at Boo Williams on Wednesday. Boys swimming is second at regionals, and both boys and girls swimming will compete at the state tournament at Swim RVA in Richmond on Wednesday. We also look forward to more news about boys basketball as their season concludes. We are incredibly proud of all of our student athletes. As we move out of winter sports, it's already time to talk about spring. Spring tryouts begin February 23rd. Best wishes to our Odyssey of the Mind team as they compete in the regional competition on February 21st while aiming to defend their world championship title. Join our seniors for the first annual Seniors Got Talent competition on February 26th at the Poquoson Middle School Auditorium. An evening sure to be filled with talent and fun, with proceeds supporting the class of 2026. Although our snowball was postponed due to weather, we look forward to celebrating at the Winter Formal on March 7th at the Poquoson High School. As always, please check the Island Times on Parent Square for important updates and information from the Poquoson High School. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Osborne?
Not used to being first.
Yeah.
I did want to say congratulations to our senior of the month and to Evo. If you haven't seen their performance yet, you can watch them sometimes on YouTube too when they're at competitions. If you don't want to go in person, they're really awesome to watch. So they are Camp Evo this year, which has been, I think it's my favorite in the past couple of years. And then I also wanted to make sure to say good luck to, it sounds like our DECA teams go into a competition this weekend, so good luck to them. And then also our honors chorus kiddos from middle and high school who are going to perform. And a big thank you to PEF for all the recent grants. I love seeing all the pictures and see what everybody's working towards right now.
Thank you. Dr. Bartlett?
Thank you. Well, I can't say ditto, with us being the first two. But I do want to congratulate our senior of the month, Alexi Titko. I'm sorry that she couldn't be here because I would love, and I hope she can hear this eventually. I want to applaud her for not only taking dual enrollment, but taking all the extra dual enrollment that she could possibly. That's really a good role model for the high school students as we continue to roll out college now. They say dual enrollment in all of our reports. That is college now, so just to get it branded. Since this is school board clerk week, I do want to throw out kudos and praises for Carol and Ashley I. Y'all do a heck of a lot of work for just two souls, so I really appreciate that. I had the opportunity to attend the Board of Trustees meeting for New Horizons, which I represent some interest on that board. We had a snow makeup or bad weather makeup day on February 12th, our meeting, and fortunately it was at the same time as their open house. And so it was very well attended, and if you have students in the school here in high school that are interested in this, I highly recommend you go out. They'll show you all. They also they've highlighted a report on youth workforce development, which I don't know how much, I never hear a lot of talk about it. It's for students who are not students now. And they use the UN definition of youth, so it's from 18 years to older, like up to, I know you, but it's a program that's being run out of New Horizons, and it's an off-site, it's not a classroom program. And at this point, there have been programs in the building before, but the federal funding, but I just wanted to throw it out there so that if any of you have students who are children who are no longer in school, but could use some career and employment development, New Horizons has a program for you. So it's kind of new for me, and so I thought I'd share that. And the only last thing I'll say is this period of time in school, particularly March, there are no holidays. This is crunch time when, all the students are just working like crazy. So my heart goes out, and all the best wishes to you all in the last short rows, as we call them.
Ms. Jones?
All right, I will echo a big congratulations to Ms. Titko, as well as a tremendous thank you both to Ms. Carroll and Ms. Ide. Your services to the board are invaluable, and you are appreciated this week and every week, so thank you for that. To Ms. Groseth and Ms. Owens, thank you for being here, Ms. Chapman as well. Really neat to hear about DECA and FCCLA, and to me, 18 DECA members competing seems like a very large number, which is incredible. So I love DECA. I think it just provides extraordinary life skills, so I think that large representation from Poquoson High School is fabulous. So best of luck to that crowd, and thank you for being here to share that with us in person. To Ms. Spence and team, thank you for the comprehensive budget and all that goes into it. We really appreciate all of your time and energy. I can't imagine the challenge that is. And to our speakers, thank you for being here. The calendar is an ongoing balance to provide for both the needs and time considerations for our faculty and families. So we appreciate the time and you being here. And my last thank you to the Poquoson Education Foundation for the grants, as well as the Poquoson Lions Club. I saw come up quite a bit in our donations for this month, and a variety of donations to various clubs, so thank you for that. And my last thank you actually is Battle of the Classes at Poquoson Middle School. That's my personal connection with my own children, and the event was fabulous. The Spirit Week was fabulous. So to the gym teachers, the faculty, the staff, thank you for the time in making that such a special and memorable week for the students.
Thank you. Mr. DeBose?
Okay, last week, we had a Student Health Advisory Board meeting. A lot of good stuff going on from that aspect with the school system. They're getting themselves prepared for having a table at Learning Under the Lights, which I think is really cool. They're talking about involving a new hydration, program for the schools to provide something, a little bit more than just water, maybe flavored water for the students, which I think is really cool. And also, they gave kudos to the PTO for having a wellness bar at the PES, earlier in the month. So, a lot of good stuff happening there from the Health Advisory Board standpoint. Thanks and kudos, obviously echoing what everybody says. Ms. Carroll, great thanks to you and Ms. Ide. Thank you for everything that you all do. From a budget side of things, of course, we've thanked everybody here, but we also need to thank our counterparts at the city multiple times for everything that they do, because they do help us tremendously, making sure that our budget comes together like it needs to. We talked about PEF. That is an absolutely phenomenal organization, has done well into the six figures support system over the last probably 12 to 15 years. So it's pretty amazing what what Judy and that group have been able to do. And then finally, this is a little bit from a personal note. I don't know if I'm happy or dreading this Thursday and going to the middle school for my son. And I guess I will probably apologize on behalf of all the fifth grade parents for the group coming up, especially my son. So, no, in all seriousness, we should be a good event, and I think it's going to be a good time. So,
Thanks. I think most things have been mentioned, but I do want to call out Ms. Titko, and this is the senior of the month. Especially, it wasn't mentioned, but she's also, and I think, well, actually it was mentioned that she is an Eagle Scout recipient. I was one of those 30 plus years ago, so congratulations on that and all the other amazing things that she's done. Ms. Carroll, thank you for everything that you've done on the board. I know that you're, how many days now?
8 working days.
8 more days until you retire.
Oh, really?
Ms. Carroll, you will be missed. I appreciate you for keeping the board in check and making sure we get everything that we need, so thank you.
Thank you, it's been my pleasure.
Ms. Ide, thank you for all the work that you do. The budget, Ms. Spence and your staff, that's a big haul that you guys have done. Your work is very much appreciated. And lastly, for the 2 folks that showed up tonight to speak, thank you for coming and talk about the school calendar. We appreciate when the community does come and speak to the board, here or, emails. Our emails are out there, so that's all I have. Thank you.
And I would, as always, like to echo the sentiments that have already been expressed. A lot of thank yous and congratulations that I concur with. But I do want to take just a moment to thank you all personally. I've worked for a lot of school boards in my many years, and I have never worked for a board as committed and focused on what's in the best interest of children as this board. You all to a person are about this community and these kids and these families, and I appreciate it personally, and I know this community appreciates it. Often it's a thankless job to serve on a board, especially one when you're representing the best interest of everybody's most important person, their children. And you all do it professionally and passionately, and we all appreciate you very much. So it's just a small token. Enjoy that. They really are good bundt cakes. But plug there. I don't know if they'll send me maybe they'll send me a free bundt cake. But thank you all for all you do. We very much appreciate you.
Ms. Carroll, are there any additional materials for board review tonight?
There are no additional materials tonight.
Okay, with that, I will close the meeting.
Know that we have to restart our system, so the mics will stay live until that is complete.
Good to know.
Really nice, I know. I love these. I know, right? I could definitely use it all in one. Is he really?
It actually says Mike.
Oh.
Yes.
What's this one?
I've never had one.
I kind of want this one. Do you want one of these?
No. I know that in the store.
Got any big plans?
Are you really? That's fun.
That's so cool.
Have you been before, or that's so exciting?
And when are you going? Like soon? It'll still be cool.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
In July. I thought I was gonna go.
Dry heat, yes. Well, that's, I know, I'm not really a gambler, but it's just so much to see and do. Really exciting place.
Sophia? Good luck. I mean, I don't know.
Yes, yes, good luck. Yes. No, I completely agree. Not a concern, but
second to last. Yeah. And I do want to say about. Maybe we have to adopt.
Better to be in your car than in the school.
Oh, no, and it's like, you have 5 minutes, you have time to close before the bell, and it's just like, really that, the open gate system was going to be in place for you that.
Oh, that we need to be there. You know how many